and welcome to That Talk with Tariro. Today, on the program, we are looking at the issue where we are saying, we're looking at the unconventional, and we are saying disability is not inability. And I'm sure if you follow the show, you would know that this is not the first time that we are tackling this particular subject. I'm happy today we have Snikiwe Kademaunga Shiva. For those on social media, this definitely is not the first time for you to actually be seeing her, interacting with her, because she's quite active on those platforms. Snikiwe, welcome to the Talk with Tariro.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And one thing that I need to tell you, Snikiwe anemskanzwa, hi, because from the time that she walked into the studio, we've just been laughing and laughing and laughing. For those who actually don't know you, who is Snikiwe?
Snikia Kademonga is a social worker by profession, social media content creator, mostly focusing on disability issues, sharing my experience as a person with a disability. Yeah, that's mostly what I do.
Hi, Snikiwe. You're a mother. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm a mother. I'm a mother to a very cute little boy. I'm also a wife.
You're a wife,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
And why I'm saying that, I'm sure you know why I'm saying
Yeah.
all those. When you're talking about Snikiwe as a social worker, tinotonyatsoziva kuti Snikiwe ane tinokakaenda university tinokakaita so udza vanhu vanyatsoziva kuti who is Snikiwe, because remember our theme we're talking about disability is not inability. The people need to know who the real Snikiwe is.
Okay, so Snikiwe, I studied at UCT, University of Cape Town. I did my bachelor degree in social work. And then after that, I came back to Zimbabwe. I did life coaching. So I'm actually a life coach. I didn't miss that. I'm actually a life coach, but I focus more on confidence building. So I help women to build their confidence with their body. You know, as women, there's always something that you don't like about yourself.
Exactly.
So I help people to be comfortable in their own body and their own skin. And I'm also into like helping, like empowering women with disabilities to be comfortable with their own skin. Also, like to just empower them so that they can be confident people in the community. Yeah, and I also do social media content creation on YouTube, TikTok, like every platform you will find me there.
And Snikiwe is on every platform. That how did you become comfortable in your own skin? Maybe let's start even from when you were young. How was it living with a disability?
So I grew up with my grandmother. So when I was born, my
Upi Snikiwe?
ndakakura kwaGandanzara kumusha. I'm a rural girl.
Gandanzara ndekupi zviya?
Kwarusapi, yes. And ndakakura kumusha ndigana gogo wangu, mama vangu.
Yes.
Because so the reason why my grandmother took me is because my paternal family find it so difficult to accept me kuti I was born with a disability. You know, with our Shona culture, tikunzi amai mazvarire mwana kadai asazvamboitika mudzidza medu, something like it's a case and all that. Until my grandmother wakazoti kuna mama wangu ndipe mwana ndiita sei ndichengete so she can save her marriage. So I grew up with my grandmother and she was such a very strong woman. She raised me in a very normal way. Like any other child. Only someone with disability. I used to kutsvaira tari, all the house chores that you might think of. When do you eat? Because ndikafa hapana nosara chikuitira. So I used to do all that. Ndaitorowo like any other ndikasatsvaira mba ndikasasuka my place like she told me to do vaitondrova.
Wow.
So I grew up in Gandanzara. I went to Jerushi, Rusapi for my primary and secondary and Chiziza pa St. Faith's primary and then St. Faith High School.
Yes.
Yes, but I got up at Jerushi.
And kuchikoro, how good were you academically?
I can say I was a very smart kid. I was a very smart kid because grade 7 and I had 7 units.
Wow.
That time for us I had 6 units, I think.
Yes.
I had 7 units.
7 years.
And then for my O level, I had 9 subjects and I had 8.
Wow.
And then for my A level I had 10 points.
Wow. And then that's when you went to...
That's when I went to UCT now to study social work.
And we know with when you are born with a disability, issues of stigma within the community, within the school system, particularly uri primary, because primary, you know, secondary, munhu anenge aine stigma, but anoedza kuiwanza ozoitira uku. But kana uri ku primary, vana vese hapana ari kuziva, and munhu can just blare out whatever that comes to their mind.
I think that primary, like there was not really stigma yakanyanya because atakawanda like vanoipa Jerusalem inosangana nevamwe vana muclass. But I can say maybe from the community andaibva kumba kwagandanzara.
Yes.
Like vanhu vaitoti kuna gogo wangu muri kumaendesere kuchikoro, you're wasting your time, because my grandmother, she worked so hard to make sure ndaenda kuchikoro sevamwe vana at the right age, because I think isusu generation yedu vana vamwe vaitowanzwa mudzimba kuti vasaende kuchikoro and all that, but ini ndakangoenda kuchikoro grade 1 with 6 years, ndine 6 years, gogo wangu vakanesa kuchikoro, but she would face all this stigma from people vaichoshamisika kuti munomuendesere mwana. And isusu takaenda kucrash, tasati ane zvema-ECDA, ECDB.
Exactly.
Kucrash gogo wangu vaindi munongozva kumusha, chikoro chinenge chiri so far away. Gogo wangu vaindibereka voenda neni makuseni kuchikoro unondisiya, because ndasina wheelchair and I couldn't walk long distances. Vanondisiya kana 12 o'clock kona panobuda vane kucrash, vodzoka vondibereka vodzoka neni kumba. So she was that kind of person who worked so hard to give me a normal life like any other kid.
Vachiriko here gogo, now that Nikiwe is this Nikiwe who's
unfortunately she passed.
When? Wanga
in 2007, ndanda form 1. Unfortunately,
at least I hope she's smiling in heaven.
I pray so.
The great strides
so. Yes.
that you are going through.
Yes.
And you know, Nikiwe, when we are looking at vanhu zvarwa nedisability, iwe wakaenda kuchikoro, wakaenda mumwe munhu anogona kuti saka Sinikiwe anonyora sei, saka Sinikiwe anozvifambisa sei, because unoziva for vamwe vanhu vafunga kuti maoko ndo everything. Iwe unozvifambisa sei?
You know what, Ari, talking about that, yesterday ndaiseka nemumwe munhu achindi ndinoshamisika, munhu wekuti ndinotomuziva for years, achindi ndinoshamisika Sinikiwe kuti unobata sei phone, unobaya sei nekude, ndikati inini ndinotoshamisika kuti iwe unobata sei nemaoko 5 nezvigunwe 5, because this is my normal. I've never lived my life outside of this body, Tari. This is my normal, this is what I know life to be. So for me, most of the things, they just came naturally. How to hold the phone, kunyora, kudya, and all that. So I don't even know how to explain those. Just say because everything. I use maoko angu kutuchinja mwana wangu pamba, kumugets everything. I use maoko angu. Yes.
Yes. Zvakanyatsoitika. This is going to be a note. Zvese zvamunonetseka kumubvunza kuita sei ndiri kukubvunzirai on your behalf. Saka isusu after the break we'll continue with this discussion. So mibvunzo yese yamina about Nikiwe, ini nhasi ndapiwa green light naSinikiwe kuti ndichamubvunza zvese zvamuri kuda nezvese hanzi futi zvese zvamunotaura about here achakuudzai, because zvese anozviziva and anozvinzwa. We'll continue with our discussion after the break. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion. Like I told you before we went for the break, mibvunzo yese yamanga mina, zvese zvamaitaura, zvese zvamunotaura zvamuchataura, as Sinikiwe nhasi ndiri kukuudzai zvese. Tiri muna 2025, we are saying everything should be in the open. Sinikiwe, ngatimbopinda panyaya yekuti growing up, you are a lady.
Yes.
Now we know you're actually married. The dating game, how was it from pekutanga pacho pekuti puberty auya chichi zvese, nyatso walk us through that whole journey? Yes.
I think as a young girl, as a teenage Sinikiwe, I struggled a lot, Tari, with my confidence. And I was at a boys' high school. That's where I went at St. Faith's. It's a boys' high school. And then the girls are Mama Day scholars. So sometimes in a class, maybe 2 girls with maybe 40 boys, you see. So for me, I really struggled with that. And I remember from Form 1, I think up to Form 4, I think I got 2 classmates, Maskana. And you know, like puberty, you are
Yes.
growing and all that. And they were common waiters at the other girl. She hey, she's beautiful.
Yes.
And for me, I really felt out of place.
Yeah.
I really felt nobody can also feel like I'm different.
Mm.
I felt really different. And you know, about the TV, like the television, you go to a beautiful girl should have long legs. You know, my model bodies, my jawlines and everything. And for me, I didn't look anything like that.
Yes.
So it's something that really withdrew me back from like being someone I in forefront and all that. I really struggled with my self-esteem. And also, I lost my grandmother in 2007 when I was in Form 1. And that for me, that was an onset for puberty. Like, so that voice here indicates that you are beautiful and all that.
Pangapasisina.
So I struggled a lot. I think my first ever boyfriend, I think maybe I was in Form 5, Form 6, first ever boyfriend.
Yes.
And I didn't even know what I was doing. For me, I think it was just for validation. Because at least there's someone
I can have a boyfriend.
I can have a boyfriend, yes. So
Papa ari pachikoro ipapo.
not the same school. Inini the person anga ari kunoku padaniko.
All right.
Yes,
Kunoku anga ari also disabled.
Yes, but disability yake ngeyekuti ukatosangana naye unogona kusatoona kuti ane disability. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And saka iwewe when you're looking at it, you'd say kuti dating game kuti uti ndakuita mukomana ndaku wana ndinodanana naye. It was a struggle because of your disability
initially when I started dating, you know, my teenage years and even maybe into early 20s.
Yes.
It was really a struggle. But after that, after gaining my confidence and just become like an adult, now I can reason better. Now that I know a life from a different angle.
Yes.
It really changed the game for me.
Yes.
Yes.
And Takuyenda, even in terms of just opportunities.
Yes.
To find opportunities to work, opportunities to almost anything and everything in life. How has it been for you?
Honestly, in Zimbabwe, it's a different game. It's a different game. In South Africa, when I was in South Africa, that's where I did my degree. Yes. I didn't really feel much different. Like I'm different, to be honest, because everything they tried as much as they can to make me like independent. But when I came back to Zimbabwe, it was different.
Yes.
Finding a job and all that, because the moment you walk into someone's office, muna say your qualifications on paper and how you look and how you look and utanga kufunga saka maybe basi pangu kama pangu hapana ramp, I have to put a ramp. That's an extra charge, that's an extra cost. So it's been difficult. If I can say, because I graduated in 2017, immediately I came back to Zimbabwe. From 2018, I think maybe 2020. Even I think up to now, I can say I've never been like formally employed into the formal sector, because I've tried for 2 to 3 years. I've tried like consistently to try Chagabasa, but it has never worked.
And when I'm looking at you, for those who would follow her on Instagram or on YouTube, on Facebook, you actually see her. Anema vlogs anoita achigadzira bed rake from start to finish.
Yes.
Doing almost anything and everything. And if you watch Sneaky hapana zvatinoita vane maoko maviri nezvigunwe. Iye ane maoko maviri but anenge asina zvake zvigunwe. But zvaunoita nemaoko maviri nezvigunwe zvako hapana zvaanoita. If I'm going to give her this iPad kuti type signer Sneaky, she will be able to do that. Ndoda kungokuradzai just an example. Ndakupa Sneaky iPad rangu. Ndoda kuti agondidzorera iPad rangu.
Okay.
Atora iPad rangu. Ndipo iPad rangu back Sneaky. There, I got my iPad back. So Sneaky is saying, when it comes to even equal opportunities, when we are talking about employment, she is struggling. But munhu anokwanisa kungoita zvese zvinokwaniswa kuitwa nemunhu wese. Chii chakakupa nhingirikiri yekuti uite vlogs aunoita? I've seen you uchiwaridza mubhedha zvazvokuti I actually even feel challenged, because ndogona waridza mubhedha uchinaka the way yaunowaridza mubhedha wako.
So I started this whole like social media journey when I was still in university, I think back in 2016. So the reason why I decided to do that was I used to get a lot of questions from people. It's like, how do you write? How do you do this? How do you do that? So I was like, for me, maybe I need to create a platform where I show people the way I do things. So it started as a blog, like
Yes.
writing. And then later on I discovered that writing is not really my strength. Maybe videos, because I can just put a camera there and then I just
and then you
started,
do
I do whatever that I do. So that's how the journey started. Yes.
And how has it been, especially looking at other people who are living with disability? Kuti, the confidence, because you're a life coach,
Yes.
and the way you're doing that, you're actually inspiring them to show them, Kuti, you can actually do exactly what I'm doing. How has that been? How has that journey been?
So far it's just been a great journey, to be honest. For me, when I started, I knew Kuti, I just wanted to show my life and everything, but I didn't know Kuti was going to be this big.
Yes.
And if I tell you that the inboxes that I receive from other women with disabilities, even other women without disabilities,
exactly.
the way they're like, you really motivate me, you keep me going, it also really keeps me going and it gives me a purpose. Social media is just a different game altogether.
Exactly.
People, they say whatever they want. It really needs you to have a thick skin to be on social media. But the messages that I receive on a day-to-day basis, I think it really keeps me going to say, I'm just doing this thing for a purpose. Even if I have to transform one life at a moment,
Yes.
I really don't mind. And it's something that I know that I'm doing it for a purpose and I'm helping someone out there. Yes.
You spoke about you started by writing. So ukatonzi snikiwe ane peni yake iyo, peni yake nebepa, unotokwanisa kutonyora
Kutonyora
kuita everything.
If I tell you kuti, when I was in school, mostly when I was in primary, bhuku rangu raitenderera chikoro chese zvichinzi tese mune handwriting yasinikiwe ndo yamunofanira kunge muchinyora. Yeah. Now ninyaya yekungoti ane macomputers and phones handichatombonyori zvekudaro, but back then my handwriting was so good. Yes.
And munhu looking at manhingirikire ako aya, with chiguno ukatarisa letters you can say ndinoenda pana A, ndinoenda pana B, but when you're looking at snikiwe kana akutaipa anongoti tatatatata and your message comes. She uses her phone the same way that we just use those. So after the break, we are going to focus more on her family life. Like for those who don't know, she actually got married, had a beautiful wedding. She's got a child. So we're going to hear more around that. Join us after this short break. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion, and we have Snikiwe Kademaunga Jiva. Saka takutarisana namai Jiva pana apa.
Yes.
Zvakafamba sei? Makasangana kupi? Zvikazoita sei?
So I met my husband online.
Serious?
Yes, I met him on a WhatsApp group. Because there's someone one day and then I was like, Sidiki, I want to join this other group. It's for people with disabilities where we just discuss different things in Zimbabwe. And then that's how I joined the group. So when I joined the group, everyone was to like introduce yourself, what you do and all that. So I joined the group and I was like, for me, I really don't know the name of my disability, but I'm going to send you guys a picture so that you see how I look. So when I sent the picture, my inbox was like bombarded with messages and I just ignored. But I don't know, when things are meant to happen, they just happen.
Yes.
So then I saw the message from my husband. It's like, hi, how are you? You're so beautiful. What? And then from there, that's how the conversation just started. Yes. Yes.
And then you started dating?
Yeah, so he asked me out. He was like, I want to take you out on lunch. And I delayed it because I was like, hey, this is Harare.
Exactly.
So I delayed it until one day, Pagas wanted to, you know what, I'm going to send you money to get into town and then I'm going to take you out. That's So I got into town, we went for lunch, and then after that,
one thing led to another.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yes.
So let's look at kuti makuti lobola. Zvakafamba sei? Pakaitwa madiscount here zvichinzi mwana wedu ane disability kana kuti chii? Because those are the questions that
yes, of course, yeah. So when I got married, it's because a wedding on social media for those people maybe follow us understand. So obviously there was no wedding without lobola first.
Exactly.
So ndopataka so ndakuita lobola. But for me, honestly, I thank God. My family, I think there are people who have born disability. Honestly, Tari.
Yeah.
Vaitoomesera mukasha chose mwana wedu akadzidza akaenda kuuniversity ane degree
Cape Town.
Exactly. So everything just went well. There was no like discount, there was nothing. Vakangorodza mwana like the way vanongorodza any other child. Yes.
And my in-laws ako, how has it been? How was it? Ipapo pekutanga, maybe later vanhu vanozopinda in the groove of things.
So from the immediate family, my husband, like his siblings, my father-in-law, I never had any problem. Like those people are the most sweetest people that I've ever met. Yeah. But obviously people in the community, one of them was going to tell you the comments.
Hanzi kudii chimboti pane wani wakambotaura so pamwe pandakamboatenda meeting.
Nekuti vanhu vakakuona kuti murume uyu akada mari. I'm like, where is the money? Ndiri kutoda mari kune murume uyu. Ndikuda kunochengetwa naye murume uyu. So people say a lot of things. Akada mari, akadipa mwana uyu, what, ane zvaakataimira. The marriage will not even last long. Wakati haitomboende beyond 1 year.
Yes.
I recently, like, because we celebrated our 3rd year anniversary in October. I saw someone commenting on Facebook, like, for me, there's some of marriage in 3 years. I'm like,
exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
and
just
we know you now have a baby.
Yes.
How was it carrying a baby?
In
your condition, kuzobudisa mwana, kurera mwana, all that. How has it been?
For me, I really thank God for the supportive people that were around me. So my husband, my family, and mostly the doctors, my gynecologist. I really thank God for him, because he walked me through the journey. He made sure that he really supported me and explaining to me everything that was happening.
Yeah.
Actually, that now you don't have to walk, unofana kugara pawheelchair more often, kuti mwana usa stress your body and everything. So the journey was quite easier. But the society is always one vanongotaura. And some of the comments, ndekuti vanototaura uchipfuura kudai so unonzwa kuti saka murume uyu akampa nhumbu, varume havana tsitsi, varume havapinde denga. And I don't know why vanhu vachingokona, they just assume kuti babe mwana havapo vakatiza.
Exactly. Hanzi hapinde denga.
Hapinde denga. Akamitisa mwana akadai, vamwe vakati the husband is a pedophile. How can you sleep with nemunhu akapfupika kudai, munhu is capable yekunorara futi nekamwana kadiki? I'm like, but I'm a whole lady, a whole woman.
A whole woman.
Saka you find good our community, our society pachine basa Tari.
Yes.
Pachine basa, especially accepting one another disability kuti vanhu vanongorarama a life ingori normal pane basa.
You know what I like about you, Nikki? You actually laugh about all these issues.
Yeah.
And we always laugh and joke about it. But in terms of us changing perceptions in communities, because it's not everyone who is as strong as you. Pane vamwe vekutoti vanotozoita even depression because of macomments anobva mucommunity. Macomments anobva muvanhu vavakagara navo. How best can we just address that as Zimbabweans to know that living with a disability doesn't make me a different person from the next person?
I think let's just be kind as people, to be honest. Let's just be kind. Because you can go kind to the next person, you know that person I feel much better. Yeah. And then maybe for other people when they have disability, they are not really comfortable maybe sharing their lives openly. Find people we can get comfort in. One want to share now so that you get all the support and everything. And then to all other people like me, who are comfortable sharing their lives, please let's share these lives. Let's share how we are living life. Because sometimes it's difficult to come to you, you can do this. People, they really relate to experience. So ndika share life yangu ndi share experience, people can see kuti zvakadai zvinotoitika munhu, you can get married, you can do this, you can live your life yangu with disability, you can live your life normally, zvisina kustruggle or anything like that. So let's really share our experiences, change the next person.
And when it comes to stigma, toibvisa say in the community, how can we actually eradicate stigma associated or stigma faced by people living with disability?
I think kindness, and let's just be kind. This other day ndakakwira mukombi. ndobva ndadaidzira kuti ndira kusara pakati. And then the driver was just so rude. Hey, ambuya, what? And he didn't say kuti it was me. So the moment conductor akati amira iwe ndisister wada kudzika, paakanditarisa bati sorry sister, anambozoti ndimi. Ndakamuza ndikati but you just have to be kind.
Exactly.
So then ongosina kuona kuti ndini ndine disability. Ongochera seungorungoita rough kune the other person. So let's just be kind to each other. Yes.
And when we are looking at rights of people with disability for us as a country, what would be your message? And here I would want you to address your message to our policymakers, us as a nation, just as we wrap up the show. What message would you want to give to Zimbabweans when we are looking at your colleagues who are living with disability and us as a nation, where we are saying we are progressing and going forward?
So I think as a nation, inclusion. Good, whatever that you want to get new policies, we want to introduce anything that you want to introduce. Please, let's make sure that everything is including persons with disabilities. Because honestly, the way I experience life from Utah is totally different. I always tell people, in my life as a person with a disability, it's so expensive. It's so expensive. So if I end up in a town, a distance, I have to take a taxi, I have to take an in-drive. So let's make sure that we are including persons with disabilities. So inclusion doesn't mean 50-50, it doesn't mean kuti tese tofanira tiri pasame level. Kana uyu munhu achitoda something, kana a step, maybe 2 steps higher kuti akwanise kuenzana nemunhu. Let's do that. So inclusion. And then to other persons with disability, I was just saying, let's speak out. Whenever you see something that is not right or it's not really done well, please let's speak out for ourselves. And the way we speak out, even the younger generations and the generations to follow. Yes.
I think I'll just wrap up saying what she emphasized: inclusion. Until next week, it's goodbye.